What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about a couple of young cornerbacks that are on the New York Giants roster right now, that both of them had some up and down, mostly down, rookie seasons, but both are looking to be added to the cornerback mix going into the 2023 season, and that is third-year cornerback out of South Florida, Aaron Robinson, and second-year cornerback out of LSU, Cor'Dale Flott. Both Flott and Robinson unfortunately dealt with a bunch of injuries last season for the New York Giants, and both of them, for the most part, never really got the full opportunity to show what they can do on the football field. But when they've had their chances, even though it was slim, especially in Robinson's case, when they were on the football field, they did show a little bit of promise that they could be part of the cornerback position going into the future. But the question is, are the New York Giants sold on both these guys as being part of the future of that cornerback position, or do the Giants believe that they could be upgrading or looking to upgrade the cornerback position going into the NFL draft? That is one of the major questions for the New York Giants this offseason. The 6'1", 194-pound Aaron Robinson last season, he only played in 2 games. He's only played 11 games in his career, Aaron Robinson, due to injuries because of the fact that he got banged up a lot last year. He unfortunately suffered a knee injury in the 3rd game of the season, and throughout that 2nd season, he only recorded 6 combined tackles for 4 solo and 1 assisted. He also had 1 pass defended in 2 games, and he's only played 11 games in his career. The biggest problem with Aaron Robinson, who has showed some promise at the end of his rookie season, has been health. That is the biggest issue from Aaron Robinson since he was drafted in the 3rd round by the New York Giants out of SouthFlorida in 2022 or 2021. He has never been able to remain healthy. He has shown some upside, and most people thought he'd be better projected for the slot cornerback position, but he has shown abilities to be able to handle the outside cornerback position at times too. It's just the problem, he can't remain on the football field. And you cannot help a football team if you can't stay on the field. That's the biggest problem with Aaron Robinson, has been health. He's out of 33 games, Robinson's only played in 11. He's missed 2/3 of his NFL career. Like I mentioned, 9 games in 2021. He dealt with a leg injury that forced him to miss the first 7 games of the season. And then last year, this past season, he had already had an injury going into the season, but he was able to work his way through it. Returned on the football field, started at the outside cornerback position, and then he ended up going down with a knee injury, and he missed the entire season, which ended up being an ACL. Robinson has shown some potential at the end of his rookie season to be a solid outside cornerback. He did get beaten sometimes, and he did stutter step a little bit in his movements on the outside of cornerback. He was a little bit jittery, and he panicked at times. But when he finally started to get his feet under him, he started to show some good cornerback traits and abilities on the outside. The problem with him is he couldn't stay on the field long enough. That has been the definition of Aaron Robinson's NFL career so far, has been health. It's more about health than his overall ability. And the question is, can the 6'1", 194-pound cornerback stay on the football field? And do the Giants believe he could be one of the answers at that cornerback position going forward? And then the other guy is Cor'Dale Flott. 3rd round pick out of LSU this past NFL draft in 2022. He's 6'2", but he's a slender 165, and that was one of the biggest concerns with Flott coming in the NFL was his weight. They figured he was still a little bit too small, but he's only 21 years old, while Robinson is 25. That's a difference right there. Flott is still an incredibly young cornerback who is still developing as a player. And towards the end of the NFL season, he started to show some signs of potentially being one of the answers at that cornerback position. In last season, he started out rough and he dealt with some injury issues of his own. He had a calf issue that held him out for most of the season, as well as he dealt with a groin issue too, where he only played in 11 games last year, started 6 of them, where he recorded 26 total tackles, with 11 of them being assisted and 12 solo. He also had 2 passes defended and a forced fumble on the season. One of the biggest issues with Flott was his lack of aggressiveness in the run game, where he would hesitate to go after a defender and he'd try to body tackle them instead of trying to tackle them around their legs and getting them down to the ground. He tried to shoulder check into a defender, and that's not going to work, especially when you're a smaller guy like Flott going against more physical, bigger wide receivers and running backs especially, who are looking to truck you the hell down onto the football field. That was one of the biggest problems with Flott. And Flott has got to learn that going into his second season. I'm sure with a terrific defensive backs coach in Jerome Henderson, he's going to try to give him more tips on what's the better thing to do going onto the football field. But Flott showed some solid coverage skills towards the end, especially in that Minnesota Vikings game. Both of them. Towards the end of the season, Flott started to show good cornerback traits in terms of his coverage. His run defense, though, needs to improve. But he's only 21, and that is going to be something that he will eventually get better in, because it's going to be something he's going to develop in his career. How much time? We don't know. But there's going to be time for Flott to get better at that cornerback position in terms of his development. Flott overall, though, I think Flott could be the answer at that cornerback 2 position. In fact, Art Stapleton of NewJersey.com even made the case that he believes Flott, only being 21 years old and showing some signs, he could be the answer at that cornerback 2 position, and that could impact the Giants and the decision they want to make in the NFL draft if they believe that cornerback 2 could be more of a high priority. Also, the fact you just signed a couple of cornerbacks this past offseason in Amani Oruwariye from the Detroit Lions, who is also 6'2" and about 200 pounds, and you signed Leonard Johnson, the former Duke Blue Devil, who unfortunately blew out his knee during the Combine last year, which caused him to miss the entire rookie season. But the Giants like his upside. He's 6'2", 200 and about 5 pounds, and he has good, solid outside cornerback traits, and he's aggressive in the open field. So it's not going to be easy for both Robinson and Flott to just be awarded the outside cornerback position. That's not going to happen. In fact, a lot of people, including myself, believe that Flott would be better positioned to play in the slot. Hence the catchphrase, Flott in the slot, because they believe his size and his traits and his skill set would do a better job on the inside rather than playing on the outside in the boundary. Plus, you have to factor in Adoree Jackson himself, who, when he's healthy, he's a very good cornerback, but the problem is Jackson is also an injury concern. He missed most of the season last year when he was put in the backfield against the Detroit Lions as a punt returner, and he ended up spraining his MCL, and he did not come back until the playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. So the Giants have a serious issue at that cornerback position, especially when it comes to health. But is it so much of a concern that the Giants have to utilize or use a first-round pick or a second-round pick at the cornerback position because they don't believe that Robinson or Flott is the answer, even guys like Oruwariye and Leonard Johnson? Or does the New York Giants front office and brass have enough faith in Robinson and Flott mixed with Oruwariye, Rodarius Williams, Darnay Holmes, Zion Gilbert, Leonard Johnson, and these guys, along with a draft pick or two and some undrafted free agents, to hold down the fort at that cornerback position going into the season, where they don't have to use an early round pick in the NFL draft on a cornerback? That's the biggest question going into this NFL draft. What is the best decision to make at the corner position? That is one of the million-dollar questions. They've upgraded the linebacker position. They've upgraded the wide receiver position. They have added some young pieces at cornerback. They've even added safety. Do the Giants need to do more at cornerback? Personally, I'm on the fence. Might be a cop-out answer, but I'm on the fence because I like a lot of these young players they have currently on their roster, as well as some of the guys they brought in. But at the same time, Oruwariye had a down year with Detroit last year and was benched. Leonard Johnson is coming off a serious ACL injury, but he has shown promise in terms of being a good run tackler and coverage-wise. Robinson has shown signs he can be a solid cornerback in the NFL, but he's only played in 11 games in 2 seasons. And Flott, I think he's the best of the bunch, and he's only 21 years old and has showed some signs of being a good coverage cornerback, but he's not good against the run right now, and he also struggled with injuries last season. So what is the ultimate answer for the New York Giants at the cornerback position? Do you guys in the comment section believe that we need to upgrade? Or would you feel comfortable enough with the cornerbacks we have currently on the roster and go to war with the guys we have on the roster? Or do you believe that Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, Brandon Brown, and the Giants front office and coaching staff should make cornerback a higher priority in terms of a high round pick going into the NFL draft? You guys let me know in the comment section what you think. And as always, please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and the content. And of course, sub to NYGJeffyT85 where you'll be getting more news, updates, and chatter surrounding the New York Football Giants. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Take it easy. Let's go New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.